After a stellar career at Brother Martin, he went on to play at LSU from 1984 through 87 under Bill Arnsparger and Mike Archer, and was a standout defensive lineman. He was named the permanent team captain for the 1987 squad. He had 139 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Of course, he has a son that's followed him there, and he's doing okay for himself right now on the pro level too. Good to see him. And of course, 4th-ranked LSU has a game, I think they play Saturday evening. I'm pretty sure that happens. We all know about that. What an incredible weekend of football we have here in South Louisiana with LSU-Alabama on Saturday night and the biggest NFL game of the year on Sunday, which you'll hear about coming up following our current speaker, who is our good and great friend. Please give a warm welcome to Tommy Clapp. Tom?
Thank you all for having me. First, like to congratulate our high school recipients. Peyton, what was it you were studying? Biomedical engineering, and Clinton, you were doing the same thing. It was right in line with my general studies degree from LSU. So congratulations to you all. It's a future. Obviously, you know, everybody knows the big game this weekend. Currently LSU 7-1 and ranked number 4 in both polls. And kind of reflecting before I came here, I realized that Kenny had asked me to come and speak after Coach O came. So I think, you know, that was a tough act to follow up. I watched him. He was certainly well worth it. So, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think LSU has had probably the best body of work so far this season. Toughest schedule by far, but obviously, as you reflect back, you know, you have the Miamis and you have the Auburns that haven't turned out, I guess, as good as they had hoped they would. But still, the body of work you add in Georgia, and to see where they are right now, nobody can match that. So it all comes down to what is every other year, which is the best primetime game in college football, and it's Bama at LSU. So here we are again, but first, kind of thinking about what I wanted to talk about a little bit before opening the questions was, you know, with William deciding, he had a tough decision this past year whether or not he wanted to return for his 5th year. He had already graduated at LSU 3.5 years. He had a choice to make. So we were involved quite a bit with the staff and some of the support people. And I can tell you, the people inside that building and that team and that coaching staff felt they would be 8-0. They're 7-1 right now. I think a lot of people here are surprised to see where the program is at this point in time. Who would have thought the eve of the Alabama game, it's being talked again about the game of the century and one of the great matchups in college football. I don't think anybody did. I think certainly it wasn't a determining factor for my son, but at the end of the day, when you're quantifying these things and you say, hey, it's going to be a new coordinator, a new quarterback, new running backs, new receivers, 3 starting offensive linemen are leaving, you would have an expectation of some struggles. And certainly it's not that the offense has set the world on fire, but certainly this team has done what it needs to do to put themselves in the position that they're in. So I think that has exceeded expectations of a lot of people, but certainly it hasn't exceeded the expectations of those who were inside that building. 2 things that I felt Coach O was really looking forward to this year. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he wanted to get his staff right. I think there was probably some administrative influence in bringing in Matt Canada. I still think is a good football coach, just wasn't a good fit for Coach O. And I think that was quite evident to anybody who's close to the program, had an opportunity to watch it up close, is to see, I think, that relationship or lack thereof unfold throughout the 2017 season. So call it what you will, but I do believe the man in charge made a decision. He's going to make this staff in his eyes, and he's going to ride or he's going to die by it. So he was comfortable in naming Steve Ensminger. I think a lot of people rolled their eyes when LSU made that announcement. You know, from a 30,000-foot flyover, the offense probably doesn't look a whole lot different. But when you get in tight and you look at it up close, it is. Ensminger's brought a little bit of multiple to this offense. They run a high pace when they feel like they can press an advantage. They do run a lot of 4 wide receiver sets, so it is different, but the primary focus of this offense is still to run the ball, control the clock, take care of the football, and play to your defense. I mean, right now I think offensively LSU's ranked 85th in the country. So obviously that's a tremendous challenge. You have to do things right. And I look at LSU's offense kind of like the Saints were Sunday night. If you look at it, it was probably the least electric game Drew Brees has played in quite some time. But you know what? It was okay by Drew and it was okay by the Saints. Why? They were making first downs, they were making positive plays, and they were keeping the clock running. I could care less for how many yards Drew Brees throws for. As long as you can make first downs and keep positive plays happening, you can win football games. That's kind of LSU's formula right now. Fabulous defense as always, so that's kind of a given for LSU in the past. It's still there today. A lot of athletes there on that side of the football. So obviously, I think when you look at the game itself, I think the objective is, look, keep this game close in the first half. That's a must. Alabama has come out and put up just loads of points on everybody they played. They put up early. First quarter has been explosive for this team. They've averaged 54 points a game. If LSU is going to have a chance, they'll keep it close. They'll get the Devin White factor back at halftime. I think it'll give a lift to the team and probably the crowd if it's still close. And at the end of the day, if you put yourself in that situation, what I'm interested in, not to say that it can't happen, but Alabama's starters haven't played in the fourth quarter yet this year. I just want to see a game where they actually have to compete into the fourth quarter. Not saying that they can't, but it would certainly be nice to see this unfold Saturday night in Tiger Stadium under the right conditions, keep the game close, bring it into the fourth quarter, and see how that team responds, because they haven't been there yet, whereas LSU has been there a couple of times this season. So, you know, anybody have any questions? That's all I had.
Hey, Tommy, looking at Alabama and LSU comparative strength of schedule. If you go to college RPI, LSU's 11, Alabama's 116. Does that matter at all in a game like this?
You know, I think it does. The closer LSU can keep the game, I think it begins to matter more and more and more. Look, Alabama, let's face it, you know, Nick Saban recruits the best class in the country every single year. So they're able to withstand things that normal teams do not. I think there is one team in the country that every year can actually match Alabama with athletes, and that's LSU. LSU probably doesn't have the depth of an Alabama, but at the end of the day, no, the strength of schedule this year has been glaring to me. I don't know if that's going to make a difference in a win or a loss, but it certainly does count the longer you can make that game contested.
Hey, as you mentioned, Devin White's going to be out in the first half. So can you talk about the person who's going to start and what kind of player he is?
The what now?
Who's going to
Oh yeah, I'm not sure who's starting for Devin White. Yeah, it's going to be a selection of people. I think he's Baskerville, Michael? Okay, Baskerville or Queen. Yes, Patrick Queen. You know, at the end of the day, I think Aranda's objective here is to minimize the impact of that position for the first half. I mean, they counted on Devin White to do a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to have the responsibility to make the calls, to set the defense. They're going to miss his sideline to sideline, to be honest with you. But if Bama comes out physical and strong and running between the tackles, I think we can do with a Patrick Queen for that first half.
The quarterback for Tulane that transferred from LSU, McMillan, didn't your son play with him?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on him being the starter?
Wonderful young man. I think he patiently waited his turn. And then this year, of course, with the addition of Joe Burrow from Ohio State. Look, we're starting to enter into an era of college football where free agency is going to become the norm. So the Joe Burrows of the world, forced the McMillans of the world, a wonderful young man, waited his turn. But again, with the circumstances that college football is in today, I think you're going to see a lot more of that. So, great young man. I'm glad to see him getting an opportunity with Tulane. Thank y'all.